Hey, Larken Rose here, and it's time for the first installment, well, other than the intro video I made about this, of Dismantling the Deep State, where we document the process of our courageous hero, our new Lord and Savior Donald Trump, as he destroys the deep state and brings freedom to us all. Yay. So yesterday, Trump was inaugurated for the second time. Why wasn't the deep state defeated the first time? Whatever. And I wanted to go through his inauguration speech to hear him tell us how he's going to tear down corruption and authoritarianism and destroy the deep state and lead us to liberty and justice for all. Yay. So, here we go.
Donald J. Trump.
I see Biden and Kamala and Clinton and a bunch of other political parasites. Kind of looks like a room full of deep state puppets cheering for Trump, which is sort of a strange way to respond to someone who's there to overthrow you and your corrupt system. Oh well. Nice, grandiose halls of power, and paid for with money stolen from you, of course, and filled with smiling, cheering political parasites greeting the new puppet on the throne. It's almost as if the establishment isn't actually at all upset or scared that this is happening. By the way, I'm going to play a lot of this at double speed so you don't get bored to death by his ramblings, but let's continue on.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens.
He seems awfully polite and cordial when talking to those evil, corrupt criminals that he's gonna bravely defeat and probably lock up.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
So, good things. Things will be good. We will be awesome and respected, and good things will happen. 'Cause Merca!
Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world.
There will be more rainbows and more flowers and more cute bunny rabbits and happy things and goodness. How exactly?
And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America.
Last ruler's bad. New ruler's good. Ooga.
As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly, and other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago.
So up until now, government has been corrupt and inefficient and counterproductive and creating mess after mess. Yeah, so far, very true. Yep, Wasn't this guy already president before for 4 years? Anyway, never mind. I'm still on the edge of my seat, ready for him to describe how he's going to destroy the deep state, so let's go.
Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we were watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change.
Far be it from me to criticize our new Lord and Savior, but doesn't he pretend to care about the Constitution? Under the Constitution, the feds aren't authorized to hand out stolen loot in response to disasters. But, I mean, I guess collectivist redistribution of wealth and massive government spending is bad when the deep state does it, but it's awesome when Trump does it. Because he knows the right way to hand out zillions of dollars in stolen loot.
We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
When did the feds get jurisdiction over healthcare and education? And how exactly does he intend to use federal political power to fix such things? And why didn't he the first time he was there? Never mind, I guess they do bad job, me do good job is just as good as actually having freedom or principles or anything like that. We just needed a better master planner on the throne.
Our recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over.
They make bad, me make good. Ooga! Is anyone else noticing that he's not actually saying anything?
Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government.
Okay, I'm still on the edge of my seat waiting for this anti-establishment maverick and enemy of the deep state to really get into exactly how he's going to be tearing down this corrupt establishment.
Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason.
Okay, playing the martyr card. Good, good.
I was saved by God to make America great again.
What the fuck did he just say? He didn't really... Did he really just...
I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Holy shit. The Messiah has come. All hail the chosen one.
That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
And right back to meaningless fluff. Liberation Day, huh? Okay, how exactly? This might be a good time to remind you that in my intro to this Dismantling the Deep State series, I mentioned that we'd be keeping a close eye on 5 categories in particular. Personal freedom, whether that expands or decreases, levels of government extortion, taxation, levels of federal spending, right to keep and bear arms, and warmongering. So far, what has he said about what he intends to do about any of those? Maybe he just hasn't gotten to that. We'll give him some time. Let's see. So, continue.
It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come.
Everyone loves their new king.
Today is Martin Luther King Day. In his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
By doing what?
National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success.
Yay! Good things, bunnies and rainbows. No substance, no specifics. Just, believe me, with me on the throne, everything will be super awesome. You won't even believe it.
We will not forget our country, we will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that.
If anyone still thinks this clown gives a crap about the Constitution, I might have to do a separate series about all the ways in which Trump has personally violated the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, Ninth, 10th, pretty much all of them. But never mind, as long as he says he won't forget about it, that's good enough, right? And as far as mentioning God again, who would Jesus bomb? Who would Jesus violently deport? Who would Jesus continue to rob and subjugate? The fact that self-described Christians go rah, rah, rah for this guy and think he's a Christian and think believing in this power-happy authoritarian psycho is in any way compatible with what Jesus is quoted to have said? How far in denial do you have to be to just ignore that shit? But hey, lip service is what matters. God, Constitution, country, ooga. Still waiting for any specifics on anything, so let's continue.
Today I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense.
So are conservatives now fans of executive orders and having one control freak bypassing Congress entirely and unilaterally dictating policy? I guess it's good when they do it. So, are we going to finally get some specifics here? Let's see.
First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
Are national emergencies usually followed by less authoritarian power and fewer violations of freedom? Or do national emergencies absolutely always come right before more federal controls and more federal spending and more restrictions on personal freedom?
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy.
So, more authoritarian controls, more authoritarian spending, more state violence. Who could have predicted? This might be a good time to mention again that nothing in the Constitution, which he won't forget, right? Nothing in the Constitution authorizes the feds to do anything at all to forcibly limit who can come into the country. But exactly like the political left, conservatives don't actually give a shit about the Constitution when they think that arbitrary, unlimited, unconstitutional federal power might serve their interests. They used Constitution for toilet paper just as much as the left does. So here they are cheering for an increase in state violence and state power and a decrease in individual freedom. Really sticking it to the deep state there.
I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country.
I guess conservatives don't give a shit about posse comitatus anymore either. No, it's fine using the military as domestic law enforcement when it's something that they like. What could possibly go wrong?
Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
Yay, changing a classification and the label you put on something in order to justify more military and more of a police state. And by the way, if anyone watching my channel doesn't yet know this, the Mexican drug cartels and all the scary drug gangs in the US exist entirely because of the US war on drugs. Without prohibition creating the lucrative black markets, the drug cartels wouldn't exist. The DEA, the CIA, the FBI, those are why there are drug gangs and drug cartels at all. But just like every other power-happy political parasite, this clown is taking a problem created by government and using it as an excuse to have more authoritarian power and violence. Gee, what could possibly go wrong?
And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities.
Some more police state power to battle a problem that government created. Who could have predicted that? Meanwhile, ending prohibition would make all of the drug gangs and drug cartels immediately evaporate overnight, exactly as happened with alcohol prohibition. The moment alcohol was made illegal, it was taken over by organized crime and political corruption, just immediately. Became more dangerous, more violent. When alcohol prohibition ended, that immediately vanished. So, is your new Lord and Savior so fucking stupid that he doesn't know that prohibition is why those gangs and cartels exist? Or does he totally know that full well, and like every other politician ever, he's using the problems that they created, problems that government power created, and using that as an excuse to increase government power and control? Really sticking it to that deep state.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before.
No one is invading the U.S., and the pathetic-ass conservatives. It's an invasion. This counts as an invasion. Random people walking over a line. No, it doesn't, you scared bootlicking wuss. It's not an invasion. There is no invasion for the military to protect against. Nothing the U.S. military does has a damn thing to do with defending Americans or protecting our freedom or our lives. Nothing at all. But hey, warmongers will be warmongers, and dumbass voters will keep falling for it.
Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices.
By doing what? How exactly do you think that government power can lower prices? Price controls? Magic? What will he actually do? You can say, well, we're going to make this good stuff happen. How? By what mechanism? You're going to lower prices by doing what?
The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices and...
Wait. What? The inflation was caused by overspending. Overspending. Like ridiculously huge increases in spending. Far more than had ever happened before. With the biggest socialist handout in history while Trump was in office. Who Who was that guy who insisted on even bigger handouts and insisted that his name be on the checks of that gigantic socialist handout? Good grief, people. He did that. He made that happen. Of course, Biden continued the stupidity and made it worse, but this lying sack of shit is the one who made the inflation inevitable. He signed off on and pushed the ridiculously massive increase in federal spending, way beyond what anyone had ever done before. And here he is promising to bravely and courageously fight against what? Himself and what he did? And apparently conservatives are too fucking stupid to even notice. They blame Biden because most of the damage that Trump caused didn't hit until Biden was there, because there's a delay in throwing a bunch of money into circulation and then having inflation follow. There's a delay in between. Trump made it inevitable. Most of the damage hit later, and idiotic conservatives are like, look what Biden did to the economy. Are you that gullible? Are you that stupid? Yeah, Biden made it worse because he kept going on the same route that Trump started. But for Trump, with a straight face, to get in front of this crowd, overspending caused this horrible problem. Who's overspending? Who signed all of those budgets?
That is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Hey, that sort of counts as government allowing a little bit more freedom in one little area. Of course, it's not government doing the drilling. It's just government not getting in the way of other people doing the drilling. But why exactly do you need to declare a national emergency just to not get in the way of drilling for oil? Anyway, at least you could call this a pro-freedom move for about 0.0001% of the population. But, okay, that's a positive.
America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have: the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We'll use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal, and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers.
Even on the things that are, at least in some way, about less government control in one little area, he still has to pretend that he is doing some awesome thing other than just getting out of the way. I mean, at least Reagan openly said what government has to do most of the time is get out of the way. Government is the problem. Trump doesn't even spew that. He talks about his great accomplishment because he might let other people actually do a little bit more than they're allowed to in this tiny area of the economy. And every politician does that. It's like a leech trying to take credit for the health of the animal it's latched onto. I made this happen by not leeching off so much that I killed you. The whole we created jobs shtick is just ridiculous. No, you not forcibly preventing some good thing from happening isn't the same as you actually doing those good things. But all the lying parasites, including Trump, play this ridiculous game. But hey, at least that was about government screwing up fewer things in this little particular area. So, okay, good, kind of.
In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice.
Yeah, as long as after being robbed by every level of government and after inflation caused by government and the Fed has destroyed the value of the money you hold, as long as after all that you still have enough buying power, you can choose what car to buy, maybe, and pay sales tax on it too.
We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with your vote.
We will build cars? Are we going to see Trump on the assembly lines now? This is the same old collective we bullshit that all political parasites do. They try to take credit for something just by not interfering with it as much as they could have.
I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens.
Do I have to explain again that the U.S. government can't tax foreign countries? American tariffs are taxes on Americans. He is bragging about increasing taxes on you. And a room full of dumbasses is cheering for it. He calls it protecting Americans when he uses the violence of the state to forcibly interfere with and limit how you can trade and what you can buy, especially if you want to buy something that somebody outside of the country made, or you want to sell something to somebody outside of the country. Less freedom, more taxes, but he's doing this for your good. And to stick it to the deep state.
For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. Because
that's what the common man really needs. Government getting more money and a new tax agency. By the way, in case anyone doesn't understand this, the External Revenue Service is just more idiotic substance-free noise. It's just making up a different label for what already exists. There already are tariffs, import and export taxes, and they already get enforced. Changing the name of the thieves isn't changing reality.
The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before. To restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government, my administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
For those who don't know, the Department of Government Efficiency is not a government department. It's an advisory committee. It has no power to do anything. It's some people who are allowed to tell Trump what they think about stuff, which they already could. So once again, it's sticking a different name, a different label on what already exists while pretending it's actually changing something. Vivek and Elon and, well, anyone and everyone else already could tell Trump what they think. And with this new non-department, it will carry as much legal weight as it did before. Absolutely none. They can't cut 1 penny of spending. Congress, as always, will still control federal spending, will still write the federal budgets. People being given a shiny new title and no actual power to do anything isn't going to accomplish anything. But people are cheering for this as if it's actually something. It's changing the words they use to describe something and nothing else. But hey, changing names is what matters most, right? Doesn't matter if you actually change anything for real, as long as you describe the same old status quo using different words.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Censorship was already illegal. If the First Amendment didn't stop it, why would an executive order stop it? And in case anyone thinks this clown actually gives a shit about freedom of speech, I may have to do that other series documenting all the ways in which he's crapped all over the Constitution. First Amendment, Second, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, Ninth, 10th. That'll have to wait for another day. Yay, freedom of speech. But here's a little taste for you. Quote, I want to get a law passed. You burn an American flag, you go to jail for 1 year. Gotta do it. You gotta do it. They say, sir, that's unconstitutional. We'll make it constitutional. End quote, Donald Trump. Yay, freedom of speech.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law.
Sure, Can't wait to see that. But I'm sure we can trust Trump now to not abuse power or murder enemies of the state telling the truth, right?
And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities.
When did that become a federal matter under the Constitution? Oh, I forgot. Unconstitutional federal police powers and interference into state matters is awesome when Republicans do it.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Whatever your opinion on such things, when did it become the job of government to decide and declare such things? Or are centralized authoritarian decrees a good thing when you agree with the sentiment? Heaven forbid government just shut the fuck up and stay out of the way. No, it's much better to have people constantly at war with each other, all of them forever begging government to officially impose their view of things on everybody else. That works great. That's how you bring people together.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
Well, good, because my top concern isn't the millions of normal, productive people whose lives were ruined while Trump was in office the first time, ruined by that circus. My top concern is that thugs of the state keep being handed stolen loot. If you're not a hired gun of the ruling class who commits violence on behalf of political parasites and your life was ruined, well, it sucks to be you. Who was it again who gave Fauci his platform and declared that national emergency about COVID that made that whole circus possible? And what was that little thing called? Operation Warp Speed. Meh, probably nothing. I'm sure we can all trust him now.
And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be free to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies.
You mean stealing resources, creating violent conflict, terrorizing and murdering people around the world, while enriching and empowering the worst people in the world? Yay, military worship.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen.
Oh, goody. More federal spending. An even bigger unconstitutional standing army, just like he did the first time around.
We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Well, I'm all in favor of that. Trouble is, he's not. As you may recall, he increased the bombing and increased the droning even above what his predecessors had done, which was really damn bad. But I'm sure this time around, he only wants peace. We can totally trust him this time.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
Sounds good. And wanting an enormously huge military always leads to peace and harmony, right?
I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
Well, glad to hear it. But I do have a question. Does that make the terrorists the good guys, worthy of thanks and praise for releasing hostages? The reason I ask is Trump himself, the day after this speech, pardoned Ross Ulbricht. Now, if you don't recognize that name, you can do a search for it or do a search for the Silk Road. The short version is Ross made a website which allowed other people to voluntarily trade, including trading beyond the control and reach of the ruling class. For that, Ross was caged for years, not for threatening or hurting anyone, but for making a website that helped people to freely, voluntarily trade. Now, yesterday, Trump freed him And I'm really glad that happened. I'm really happy that Ross is finally out. Trouble is, Ross was in the cage for all of Trump's first term. For 4 years, every single day of those 4 years, Ross was in a cage when at any moment, with the stroke of a pen, Trump could have freed him. But he didn't. Instead, he used the promise of a pardon as a bargaining chip, exactly like terrorists do. He would release a hostage, literally a political hostage, if people would just give him what he wanted, just give him power. So yeah, I'm glad that the hostages in Syria were released, and I'm really glad Ross was released. But no, that's not a reason to praise or thank the power-happy terrorists who held them hostage in the first place.
America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world.
Oh, good. Back to meaningless fluff predictions.
A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs.
Because changing the name of things is what matters most. You'll still be robbed and controlled and abused and treated like livestock by the ruling class, but now you can proudly call a particular piece of water by a different name. Anyone cheering for this is a gullible moron. Merca! The Gulf of Merca!
President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent.
So government makes you rich by way of stealing money. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yay, more taxes!
He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy.
So not yay more taxes when another country is imposing taxes and fees on us, but it's awesome when our ruling class does it, right?
And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Taking it back? How? Standing ovation for warmongering threats? Awesome. What could possibly go wrong? Off to a great start, being a peacemaker and a unifier, just declaring, yeah, we're going to take that back that isn't ours. This massive superpower saying, we're going to take that. I'm sure if China just said, yeah, we're going to take New Jersey. Well, if they took New Jersey, you can have New Jersey. People would be, oh, how brave, how peaceful and unifying of them. Although, shouldn't have used New Jersey as an example, because it might be unifying and peacemaking to get rid of New Jersey. But otherwise, you get the point.
Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred.
All right, back to the meaningless fluff. Greatness, awesomeness, yay!
Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free.
By doing what? Magic? By empowering and enriching Big Pharma, which this clown did? He can just make shit up. We'll be healthier and richer, and there'll be more rainbows. And dumbasses are going to cheer for it without even wondering or asking, how the hell does the violence of government make those good things happen? To quote George Washington, government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Government is violence. This guy just acquired a position from which he and his fellow parasites can exert violence. That's what government is. Pretending you can make people healthier through violence or political power is fucking psychotic.
The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons.
More meaningless, substance-free bullshit.
And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Yay, let's extend nationalism and stupid emotional loyalty to a ruling class all the way to another planet. And put a flag there. 'Cause Merca. And, of course, steal enormous amounts of money from productive people to fund that. Now, if private industry accomplishes such things by way of funding that was obtained voluntarily, not government grants, then cool. But, of course, government couldn't claim credit for that. But, I mean, Trump would anyway. He wants credit for anything that anybody does. I could have stopped you, but I didn't. Therefore, I'm the one who accomplished it. Why are you still falling for this shit?
Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand.
And government was there to rob them and slow them down and interfere with them and restrict their freedom and create violent conflict the whole stinking time. Yay, government. Once again, this dipshit in a ruling class is trying to brag about things accomplished by humanity in general. If you're ambitious, which Trump thinks is an awesome thing, and I think is an awesome thing, government is by far your biggest enemy and your biggest obstacle. But this parasitic slimeball, like every other parasitical slimeball, wants the human livestock crediting the plantation managers for what the regular people actually produce and accomplish. Same old bullshit.
If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve.
We don't work together. Regular people produce value and government steals it. Decent human beings work together with each other, but they work together with government about as much as drivers work together with carjackers in order to have cars. The difference is carjackers aren't obnoxious and delusional enough to actually try to take credit for you having a car. But here Trump is and his fellow parasites, the thieves, the people who get in the way and steal shit, trying to take credit for the production which nobody in government is doing. All they are doing is robbing the people who actually produce this stuff. But like every political parasite, he's playing the stupid game of, look at our greatness. What our greatness? You're the leech stuck on the side of an economy consisting of people trading and working hard and being productive. You're not part of that. You're not helping that. You're the thief leeching off of it, and that's all government ever is.
Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken.
And demonstrated once again that they don't know how to think. They're still mentally enslaved and still fall for ridiculous propaganda from both faces of the one ruling class.
I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best.
Well, I mean, he did get a lot of people who imagine themselves to be pro-freedom to vote for a power-happy, narcissistic establishment crook while thinking they were somehow fighting for freedom and sticking it to the deep state. So that's kind of impressive, I guess.
From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride.
Random, irrelevant, meaningless noise where a bunch of parasitical crooks try to convince the human livestock that we're all on the same team. Same old shit as ever.
Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced.
Or a bunch of normal people worked hard to accomplish great things, while the U.S. ruling class adopted fascism and adopted communism, and threw away any hint and dropped any facade of being in any way a limited government which gives a shit about individual freedom.
After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We're going to win like never before.
More nauseating, fluffy bullshit. So a parasitical ruling class is gonna fight for you. Against what? And how? They are the thing that rules you. They are the thing that robs you. They are the thing that limits you. They are the thing that abuses and subjugates you. How the hell can anyone not see that?
In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you.
Things bad before. Now things be good. Good things happen. Ooga. So let's review those 5 categories, shall we? 5 categories that I laid out in my introduction video, and see how our new Lord and Savior did in his first speech as president again. First category, personal freedom. He mentioned exactly nothing. Not one peep about how normal people might have a shred more individual freedom. Nothing. Nothing at all. Now, it sounds like oil companies and car companies might have more freedom in some areas, but when it comes to you and the 8 zillion ways in which government tentacles limit your freedom and ability to do what you want and ability to keep what you earn, your new Lord and Savior said absolutely nothing about that. Second category, levels of government extortion. He said exactly nothing, not one word, about lowering taxes. He did, however, brag about increasing taxes and increasing revenue to the government by way of tariffs. So yay, higher taxes. Third category, federal spending. Not a peep about reducing government spending. He did mention a couple areas where spending will certainly increase, like growing the military and creating a massive authoritarian border-obsessed police state. That's going to cost money, stolen money, money stolen from you. So, yeah, not a lot great on the federal spending side. Fourth category, right to keep and bear arms. Didn't say a word about it. Fifth and final category, warmongering. Yay, he wants to massively increase the military. He says he wants peace, and he's about peace and unification, and then he basically threatened using military force to steal the Panama Canal back from Chinese control. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to end just marvelously. Okay, so the deep state and our brave new Lord and Savior who's going to dismantle it. He's going to dismantle it by doing what exactly? I must have missed that part of his speech. By the way, I played the entire speech. I didn't leave anything out. Sped it up so you wouldn't get bored to death, but that was all of it. What part of his long-winded bullshit fest gave the slightest hint that he's an enemy of the ruling class? Anything? He is the ruling class. He is the authoritarian monstrosity. If you voted for him thinking he was going to do battle against the deep state on your behalf, did you see any hint of that in this long-winded, self-congratulatory pile of euphemistic pie-in-the-sky, meaningless bullshit? Anything? What part of that looked like he was actually doing battle with a corrupt authoritarian government? If you voted for him, you're a gullible idiot, just as much as if you voted for Kamala. You played the game, you legitimized the circus, and you lost. It doesn't matter which clown puppet sits on the throne. You played the game as if consenting to the idea that the ruling class is legitimate and that we're obligated to bow to these crooks, and that the only choice we have is which crook we're going to bow to at any given moment. You played the game, you lost. And you would have lost just as much if Kamala won, because slaves can't ever win the game of choosing a new master. They will still be slaves. So my question now is, have any of you learned your lesson yet? Or are you still going to pretend that Trump is anything other than just the latest clown in the circus? He's not even a new one. He's a recycled clown in the circus. Putting a show on to distract you just so you can go back to being good, obedient, complacent livestock. That's what this show is. Just from that speech alone, how do you not see that? And if you call yourself libertarian or anarchist and you voted for this narcissistic piece of shit, I want to see if you can bring yourself to comment below and say, yes, I still think Trump is fighting for my freedom against the establishment. Are any of you still that stupid? I want to see if anyone can actually comment that in the comments below. Not, well, Kamala would have been even worse. That isn't anything. Left, right, left, right. They take turns. They're both in power the whole stinking time. You still falling for that game doesn't mean it was that this time because it was right instead of left, that's an improvement. That's what it's been for your entire lifetime. Are you so dumb you can't see the pattern? How did Biden get into office? By Trump being in office. How did Trump get back in office? By Biden being in office. How will the next clown get into office? By complaining about whatever Trump does. Same thing, Bush, Obama, Clinton. Doesn't matter who you point to. It's all a bunch of gullible idiot human livestock voting for a new master because they're upset with the old master. And so it goes back and forth. Wait a minute, I've seen a movie about that. I think it was called The Jones Plantation. I really like that movie. I think everybody should watch it, and maybe then they'd understand that voting isn't the same, voting for a new master isn't the same as being free. So, does anyone out there still think you accomplished a damn thing for freedom by putting this dipshit on the throne again? I want to know if anybody will still say that after this awesome speech of absolute noise where he gave no indication whatsoever that he is any sort of threat to the establishment. He never has been. From the beginning, he was there to play a part. He was there to put on a show, almost like professional wrestling, which he was also involved in. Put on a show, pretend to be enemies, then shake hands and smile and laugh behind your back at how frickin' stupid you are that you continue to play the game, you continue to legitimize the ruling class by playing the bullshit game of democracy, and you continue to advocate your own enslavement and the enslavement of everybody around you. Have any of you learned your lesson yet?